with another kind of book review. I read the first 3 volumes of Moriarty the Patriot, which is a manga based on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's character of Professor Moriarty, the villain in the Sherlock Holmes books. So I'm going to break this down into a few different sections because I think it's important to position myself in relationship to the material so you can see like why I feel the way I do. Obviously, my opinions are my own, and you're free to read and make your own opinions. But anyway, let's start with the fact that I have loved Sherlock Holmes since I was little. My dad is a big Sherlock Holmes fan, and the movie Young Sherlock Holmes came out when I was 8 or 9. I am sorry if you can hear my son jumping around in his room. He, self-stims, so sometimes that's just part of what he's doing. Anyway, Young Sherlock Holmes came out when I was about 8 or 9, and I fell in love with that movie at the same time the Jeremy Brett series was airing, and so I watched that. I read pretty much every book I could get my hands on. My dad had an extensive Sherlock Holmes library with the original books and the Nicholas Meyer books, and I just took that love of Sherlock Holmes through life with me up until the present day. And so I understand there are a wide range of interpretations, and since he is largely in the public domain, not entirely, but largely, and that's a whole other thing, there's there are a lot of takes on, the Holmes story, canon, whatever, and this is one of them. And some work better than others for me, and this one did not work as well as I had hoped. So Moriarty the Patriot is about William James Moriarty, who is the middle son to the Moriarty family. A lot of the problems I have with this translation or whatever, I'm not sure, since I'm reading in English, I'm not sure what the original Japanese said. I assume that because the author and artist are Japanese, there's a Japanese version that this is taken from. I don't actually know. Maybe this was written for the English market, but they call him Count Moriarty. The older brother, Albert, I think his name is. Albert, I think. And in England they don't have counts, they have earls, which is the equivalent of a count. The count is on the continent, and earls are in England. There are just a lot of, they all have the middle name James, and I don't know if this is because, and I talked about this in another video, James Moriarty and Professor Moriarty are not the same person. In Doyle, James Moriarty is the professor's brother, who was a military man. And so I don't know if they just said, well, they'll all have the middle name James, and then if anybody refers to James or Jim Moriarty, it could be any of them. And then there's younger brother, Louis or Louis. I tend to say Louis. My French background, it's a family name, so there's a lot of Louis and Louises in the family. Anyway, this Moriarty family, along with a couple of sidekicks, Sebastian Moran, the sharpshooter, and some kid named Fred. They have this big plan to rid the aristocracy of evil and get rid of the hierarchy that is that the caste system in England, basically. The nobles can get away with murder, literally, and and there are people starving in the streets, and that thing. Because, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it's the very first story in the very first novel. Basically, William and Louis were adopted by the Moriarty family, and then they, along with the eldest son, Albert, killed the other Moriartys and took on the Moriarty, identity. So they're not, William and Louis are not actually Moriartys. Um. Anyway, I read the first three. We do meet Sherlock Holmes, this version of Sherlock Holmes I do not care for, and then like the end of volume 2 and the first 2/3 of volume 3 are all Sherlock and John. And again, Sherlock and John call each other by their Christian names, which, since this is set in Victorian England, they would not have done even as friends. Certainly not on such short acquaintance. So it's almost like the authors tried to borrow BBC Sherlock in places. They've tried to add some James Bond, because they have at the end of volume 3 a Miss Moneypenny shows up, and somebody who I can only assume is Mycroft, but to be honest, I'm probably not going to pick up volume number 4, because like I started out interested, and by volume 3 it was like a trial to read. Like, I was really actually struggling to get through it. I can usually sit down and read a manga like inside of an hour if I really enjoy it. But it took me days because I kept putting it down and picking up other things. I read Black Butler 30 in the middle of reading volume 3 of Moriarty, because I was like, oh no, this is much better. And what's funny is that Moriarty, there's some DNA in it that suggests Black Butler, because of the whole, like, in Black Butler, CL Phantom Hive, also, like, there's an identity thing there, but, he's the watchdog for the Queen, but he's actually also often having to go after nobles who are doing underhanded things. So you would think I would have loved Moriarty. It's got the Sherlock Holmes stuff. It's got this kind of a little bit of this Black Butler thing going on. It's, you know, I love James Bond too, but somehow this particular mixture, either they took the wrong things to play on, or the things they took, I didn't enjoy what they did with them. Just for me, it was not a good animal. The result, the chimera that resulted was not for me. Yeah, so it's, it's got some gore. It gets pretty gory, bloody, so I would say it's not for kids. I would say, it's like an M14. If it were TV, it'd be like the M14 kind of thing, maybe even more, depending on your particular, level of tolerance for that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to like it so bad. I was so excited for this series, and I was so excited to finally get it, because like Barnes & Noble hadn't had it, Amazon hadn't had it, and then I was able finally to order it. So I ordered the first 3, and yeah, and like, this is their version of Sherlock, and he's got this weird little ponytail kind of thing, and they have him speaking. What's weird is that the translation has him speaking in what they call Cockney, but it's very inconsistent the way he talks, or the way they've localized it. He says yo and stuff. I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. Yeah. So, bottom line, not for me. Your mileage may vary, obviously. Maybe you've read it and you loved it. Maybe you're like, oh, give it like 2 more volumes and it gets better. I don't even know how many volumes are out. I'm pretty sure there's at least 4 or 5. This one, let's see. Well, volume 3 is from 2016. So yeah, there's almost certainly a lot more. Yeah, if somebody's read it and it gets better, let me know. Let me know, like, they do their version of A Study in Scarlet. They do their version of The Hound of the Baskervilles in these first couple volumes. I don't know. It's not even The Hound of the Baskervilles. There's not a hound. Well, there is a hound, but he's not integral. He's more like an afterthought. So anyway, that is that. I am reading now. I just picked up The House in the Cerulean Sea. And because everybody says it's fantastic. So far, it's really cute. I'm literally like only 50 pages in. It's really cute. There are a few little things in the writing. I'm going to be nitpicky. There are a few little things in the writing where I'm like, you can tell this is still a really young writer. Like they add that extra sentence that isn't necessary because they don't entirely trust their reader to get it. You know, I think that's something that a lot of early writers do. I'm surprised the editor didn't pick it up, take it out, but different editors work different ways. So, I mean, I worked as an editor. So, as an editor, I'd be like, I would have taken that out, but that's just me. So sometimes I can be really nitpicky, and I apologize. It is so far a very cute story. I mean, he's literally just arriving at the main, like the titular, you know, Cerulean Sea. So I haven't gotten very far. But I'm looking forward to that. Compared to Moriarty, you know, everything's relative, right? Like if you read something really good and you pick something else up, it's maybe sometimes it, you know, suffers by comparison, proximity bias. But on the flip side, if you read something not great, the next thing might seem even better than it actually is, and you know, I don't know. Excuse me. But yeah, so I'm reading that. And I did also start History Is All You Left Me. I'm struggling with that one a little bit. I like the modern day stuff, but the history stuff I'm not enjoying, and obviously it kind of goes back and forth between the two. And so like I'll be reading and I'll be like, I don't feel like reading this like background story. So we'll see. I will get through it. I'm almost done with my reading challenge for the year on Goodreads. Most of it has been manga. Like, of the 57 books I've read, 56, 57, 42 have been manga at this point. So it is largely manga. I did the same thing last year. I read mostly manga. I think in times of stress, manga for me is very easy and quick and fun to read. It kind of just soothes me. I read Black Butler, Ozaki, the Moriarty stuff. I'm keeping up with Takane Tohana and Cardcaptor, Clear Card. So I've got a lot of manga series going. I need to get back to Classroom of the Elite, which is more like light novels. My Life is a Villainess. I need to get back to that, which there's a manga and a light novel version. I've read both. I love that series. If you haven't watched My Next Life as a Villainess, go watch it. It's super cute. It's really funny. Okay, so that's everything. And I will see you hopefully soon when I finish House in the Cerulean Sea or History Is All You Left Me, or both of those. One more thing. I just realized it. If you want to see my thoughts about Moriarty the Patriot as I was reading, I did TikToks. You can go watch them on my TikTok channel, Amanda_Innes, INNES. Yeah, I did like 2 or 3 ones that kind of delineate all the little things about the series, like the count thing and some of the some of the inaccuracies that bothered me. Those are on TikTok. Cute. Not cute, but short little TikToks. Also, other things about things I'm reading or have read. That's over there. So